Five, four, three, two, live. Hey everyone, welcome to Rob's Rogues Comic Corner and my Facebook page that I'm kind of trying to post this on as many different pages as I possibly can. So no viewers, Terrence O'Neill, who just, I'll read Terrence's question right here. It says, did you buy Flash 51 variant cover? I thought I saw that in your picture. I thought you said you were dropping it after the Flash War, but 51 tie-in to the Heroes Cross mini-series. Wow, crisis. Yes, I was at the comic book shop, which I'm going to go to here in just a little bit. I'm going to give a rundown for people that are just tuning in. If you can hear me through the microphone, this is my podcasting microphone that I use. I'm not wearing my headphones at the moment. It tends to throw me off in a live video sometimes. So it looks like it's recording, so maybe give me a thumbs up if everything's going right. If you click the link, if you're on Facebook page, you can comment live with me on the YouTube channel, which is where I'm primarily doing this from. So I'm just kind of checking everything here at the moment. To answer Terrence's question, yes, I did drop Flash after issue 50, but when we were at the comic book shop, which I can't quite remember what the name of that shop is. I've got it all listed right here once I get to that book. I saw it sitting there, and I thought maybe I would pick that up because these variant covers, I got to say, I like so much better than the general comic book covers for, you know, whatever DC is doing currently at the moment. I just like the variant covers more, so I've been picking it up. And I thought that Flash 51 was going to will tie into Heroes in Crisis miniseries. So I basically picked it up because I like the cover, although I did drop Flash 50. My comic book stack is so large right now that I'm exactly 51 issues behind in reading the Flash and Rebirth. Wonder Woman, I think I'm 20 issues behind in reading in that. Green Arrow, I forget how far. There's a couple books in Rebirth that I was just reading so much, and then doing my own podcasting, I was just getting behind in my reading, so I started cutting a lot of books, other than the Bat books and things like that. But neither here nor there. I was kind of rambling here a little bit just as people are tuning in. I know it's a Monday, and normally I would be at work, but we just got back from a nice long 5-day vacation. We started Thursday morning, and then vacation ended Sunday at around 9 o'clock at night. So, of course, like after a long vacation, rather than just go right back to work, I wanted another day off. So normally I would do my videos in the evening, but having a full day off, I thought, hey, well, I'll catch the people that maybe have second shift jobs, or maybe like my buddy Terrence, co-host for Robin Everyone Loves the Drake. He's a teacher, so he's often getting a chance to do some stuff. So neither here nor there. I'm going to go through my comic book action figure haul, original comic book art that I bought, a statue. I've done it in quotation marks, not really a statue. It's more like a figurine. So I have said jokingly in my Facebook before yesterday, bring 2 sandwiches because you're going to need it. There are 47 books that I bought, 4 action figures, 1 figurine, and comic book art. And not that I'm going to discuss or review, but this is linked also up in the Comic Book Corner Facebook group that I'm a part of. So a lot of people will say, hey, here are the books I picked up. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. So get a drink because you're going to need it. All right, we're ready to go. So the first thing, the reason we went to the trip, everybody can see this or not, we went to Metropolis, Illinois. So that was the destination that my wife and I chose this year. Hey, Christopher. It was kind of like, hey, all about me. My wife was always looking for little places to go, you know, down the road, like some little places she wanted to go, some candle stores. Sometimes she'll pick scrapbook stores, but the thing for our vacation this year was just to get out of Ohio and just kind of drive. We knew a destination we were going to go to, and then we would stop along the way. So we had mapped out 10 different comic book stores that we would go to, and then of course, Metropolis being our main destination. So we spent time in Metropolis, Illinois. They have their Superman celebration, which we missed by about a month for his 80th birthday. But everything was still set up from that. They have a Superman store, museum, the original Lois Lane from the Christopher or is it Christopher Reeves? No, not Christopher Reeves. George Reeves. There we go. The 50s Superman serials. The Lois Lane from that TV series, which she was also the old woman in the Brandon Routh Superman that Lex Luthor married, and then the dogs kind of ate her, if you remember that. That original Lois Lane was born and raised in Metropolis, and they have a statue of her, so that's kind of cool. So they can say their Lois Lane actually lived in Metropolis. So enough rambling. Here's the paper from Metropolis. It's a small little town of about 800 people, and we were there Thursday. This is printed Thursday, July 26th, and their papers don't come out till later in the evening. So we were there actually on Friday. So this is kind of cool to see. You know, it's Metropolis Planet. You can see the little Superman logo, and they, I think back in the 70s, had petitioned to DC to be able to say that they're the home of Superman with Metropolis. So every year for Superman's birthday, they have a big, huge shindig where like 30-some thousand people descend on the little small village of Metropolis. It's really cool. So speaking of Metropolis, I'm going to start with, since this is primarily on my YouTube channel, which where I do a lot of action figures, let's start with the action figures first. We'll get them out of the way, and then we'll get into the comic books, and there's some really cool stuff in here. So thanks to you. Thank you to those of you that are tuning in watching this live. So let's start with, we'll go with what people are going, that's okay, to, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. So this was something I got at Big Bang Toys, or Big Bang Comic Books and Toys, and I believe I'll have to wait till I get there. I believe that was in Kentucky. I think, I don't have my notes because I've got those listed as the comic books as I go down. This is nothing major. I paid $10 for this, but is the DC Comics Multiverse Suicide Squad Captain Boomerang. So there he is. Nothing really major, and this was a line that I'm like, I don't know if how much I'm gonna collect it. But going through Walmart and finding some for $5 here, $6 here, now I'm to the point where I'm like, I've got everybody but Harley Quinn, and I wasn't necessarily planning on building Killer Croc. You know, figures like Katana never had. Yeah, Robin, no hat. I've been wearing a hat all weekend, so I'm nicely shaved for everybody. Katana has really never had an action figure, so I wanted to pick up a Katana action figure. Deadshot, I kind of missed the DC-UC one, so I was like, meh, okay. So then it just kind of came to be like, well, I'm starting to find these figures pretty cheap. This one was $10, but even though I have the DC-UC Captain Boomerang, I still like the DC movies, so I thought, hey, why not? And surprisingly, that was the only shop that I went to that I did not buy any comics. I don't know if they were moving a lot. It was a huge, huge store. Really nice, but it looks like they were in the process of unpacking stuff or moving things around. So trying to find comics was kind of a little bit of a chore because I was having to move so much stuff. And I was actually digging through boxes, finding action figures. So this was one there. I got to find a spot to put all these. So let's save that one. The first thing I actually bought, and I believe it's, again, when I get to the comic books, I'll give proper comic book world. They actually have it on their thing. So these are the new things that everybody's picking up. Some people have really liked these, and some people really do not. So I'm not going to jump down the whole line of the DC Essentials line, but I did pick up one. I picked up Batman. So this will be something that will get a proper review. I know Automatica and the guys in the Rogues were wanting me to review it, but I was on vacation, and my wife's like, you're going to take this all out of package, and we're going to have all these pieces. So yes, Olivia, I did wait till we get home. So I don't know. I guess it depends what review you watch and what, yeah, I guess it's all in reviews and what people are saying. Some people like them. They like the posability. Other people do not. They're saying the Icons line were better and the new 52 line was better. I have been hearing people saying that the wrists are extremely loose because of all the hinges and everything going on. I'll make the judgment for myself, but like I said, I'm really going to cherry pick this line. As you can see back here, I've got all the new 52 figures. It's like I've kind of been down this road before. Now that these are 7-inch, Christopher says I was super disappointed in the Essentials and Multiverse figures are better. You know, just here's the Multiverse Batman, same figure. This feels really like a really solid figure. I know that there might be better sculpting on some of this stuff, but I really think Mattel is going to be cranking stuff out. So I'll see for myself. It's like, don't judge a book by cover. Some people, like Christopher says, that they like them. Andrew said the same thing. Mattel really sold a lot of people at San Diego Comic-Con. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out. So, yeah, I'll have to see what I think about this. Of course, if they do a Robin, Red Robin, something like that. But I doubt I'm going to go like, oh, I'm going to pick up a Green Lantern figure just because. I'm not going to do that. Not in this line. I don't know which to save. So since we were in Metropolis, I did pick this up. And here is the Superman Museum at 715 Market Street, Metropolis, Illinois, 62960. And you can go to supermanstuff.com and you can buy from their website. So that's pretty cool. So I didn't actually pick this up at the museum. I saw it at the museum and they wanted $40 for it. So I was like, you know, because I knew there were other comic book shops we were going to go to. So I had picked up another figure instead at the Superman Museum, but it's not Superman at all. This one I got at a little like consignment store. And the people that, ironically, just dumb luck, were bringing in a bunch of stuff and they had this figure. And they were just putting this on the wall. And I thought, oh, it's the same figure I saw at the Superman Museum, which happens to be right across the street. And I got to talking to them, and they asked what I would give for it. They had listed $28 on it, and my wife just goes, would you take 20 bucks? And they said, yeah, sure, great. So, Hush, Superman. Can't see if they're off camera, but right up here, my Hush figures are up there. This is the first figure from this wave. I bought a whole case of the Hush figures when they first came out. Geez, however long ago. Was it 99, 2000, something like that? There's a product date on there. Can't find it. Anyway, not important. But when they came out, I bought a whole entire case of Wave 1. So I don't have Alfred or Harley Quinn, Nightwing, Riddler, or Catwoman. So getting Superman, it's the only Superman figure comic book other than a couple shirts that I bought in Metropolis. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to actually buy a Superman figure. So the Jim Lee Superman from the Hush is pretty cool. It's getting an omnibus later this year or maybe in January, I think. 2003, I think you're right. I didn't think it was in 99. It's either 2003 or 2004, but I think 2003 is correct. Back in the days where DC, and just here we go. Good example. Same company. Same company. I think I said a long time ago on my channel, the more time you start adding, I know we want to be able to pose our action figures, but I think the more that you start adding swivels and twists and things that bend and turn, figures are starting to stand less and less and they're falling over. Yes, I want to be able to pose them. And yes, I know a lot of other action figure companies are doing a much better job, but I don't know. There's something about this line that sometimes less is more, but again, I know we want to pose. So the thing that I actually bought in the Superman Museum, this is pretty cool. Knowing that Mattel, speaking of Mattel, is doing a bunch of their Rebirth figures. We're going to get a Red Robin. We've got the Clayface Collect and Connect. We've got Batwoman here. I just held up Superman. So, and we're going to get Spoiler sometime probably in 19, I think, unless she's going to hit in 2018. Excuse me. So I thought, well, it'd be great if they have a Cassandra Cain hopefully come out. But what figure from Cassandra Cain has been out? First appearance. So I snagged her, and I forget, 24. Paid $25 for it, which I did not think was absolutely horrible. They had a Superman first appearance there. No, they had the composite Superman that was there, and then Nightwing, which I already have. He's off here, off to the side. I'm losing viewers because we're not talking about comic books. One more figure here, figurine. These have just started to come out. This is from Heroes Collection. It's the Batman animated Batman, you know I love articulation more. It's the crap from DC Collectibles that they've been putting out. They need to get their crap together. Yeah, I agree. Agree, Automatica, totally. I want to be able to pose my action figures rather than have them in the vanilla stance. But if you cannot articulate the figures well enough, then don't do it. I would almost rather buy a statue-esque thing than buy a figure that I think is going to move very well and fall apart in my hand, which has happened many, many times. If I was DC Collectibles, I just wouldn't do it. I'd sell a license out to everybody else and let them do it. You focus on the statues and other things like that that you can control your QC on. Back to what I was saying here, Batman animated series, little figurines. So, of course, I had to get Robin. There are 6 in a series: Batman, Penguin, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and the Joker. And these are by Eagle Moss, the Hero Collector. So there's the back of that. So this is something that my good buddy Stu Murray 47, I was saying, hey, you may have to pick this up for me. He's over in the UK with Eagle Moss kind of being over there. But a lot of comic book and specialty shops have been starting to get some of these. So I did pick this up. Okay, now we are on to comics. So let me get this stuff set down. And I'll say the best for last here, the comic book art. So, all right, let's get settled here. So like I said, get a sandwich, get whatever you need because we're going to be here for a little bit. 47 books. I'm not going to necessarily talk about, oh, we were driving over here, blah, blah, blah. So I believe I've got these back in the order of where we went to them and may have some of the things flipped from our stops. I've got cards that I'm going to mention for each one of the comic book shops. Only one didn't have a business card, but each of them have Facebook accounts and Twitter, Instagram, email, and phone numbers. So I'm going to try and put all that up in a description somewhere that I'll have to edit after the fact. So if you were like, oh, hey, Rob, where was that at? I didn't want to take the time putting a whole bunch of stuff while I was trying to get the video set up here. So the first place we stopped at, I had put that we had stopped in Ohio, but my wife said, you know, we live in Ohio. We can go to any of these Ohio places. So we actually drove past a few comic book shops that were in Cincinnati, Dayton area, or not past, but, you know, just drove through those cities knowing we can get to those in our own city when we want to. It's more of getting out. So the first place we stopped at was Arcadian Comics, if I'm saying that right. 627 Monolith Street, Newport, Kentucky. So Newport was the first place that we were in. Oh, thanks, Christopher. Check out the video when you get a chance, when you get back. So so they were open 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And because of, you know, daylight savings time and all that stuff, we were actually arrived a little bit early. We were about a half hour early getting there. We had stopped, you know, stayed the night, got up the next morning. And, actually, excuse me, while we were driving through, calculating for time and all that stuff. Actually, that's Illinois, so forget the whole Kentucky thing. Never mind. So that was the first place that we had stopped at. Like I said, we were an hour early. We left at 5 o'clock in the morning, and that's about the time we arrived there. So this one I actually think I started getting some of the Batman and Detective. I got on the Batman variants from the place where I get my comic books. I wasn't sure if I had this at first, but this is a Batman 51 variant. Again, these variants, I wish DC would just do this all the time. You know, get your title and stuff down here, or maybe put it up top if you're going through. But again, some of these variants I think are so much better than the actual issue. I'm not trying to double dip on all of these variants, like buy the A copy and the B copy, but some of them I just like the art. It's kind of cool to maybe kind of put up on the wall here and just have to look at. So I'll try to go through these fairly quick and only talking where I need to be talking from. So this was a series I had dropped Deathstroke right after right after the Lazarus contract, and then the Batman versus Deathstroke storyline started, and I was like, crap, maybe I should have got on that. So you're going to see a few variants in here, Automatica, and so I picked up all of the issues that I was missing from Batman and Deathstroke. So it's going to be kind of interesting to find out, is Damian Deathstroke's son after all? Is it a ruse? So I'm kind of curious to, this is something I'm probably going to read probably actually today and get caught up. So there is part 1, but issue 30. Here is issue 31, variant cover. I had told the guy that was doing my comic book pull list that I wanted on this book, so either he forgot or they didn't come in. So I picked this book up and then called him and said, or sent him a message, said, hey, make sure you get me on this book. So I picked up the variant copy of Justice League Dark #1, James Tynion. Absolutely love James Tynion's writing, Detective Comics and the Batman Eternal series. I mean, his work with Scott Snyder. So I'm eagerly wanting to read this, knowing that he's going to get me issue 1 moving forward. I thought, well, this is a good opportunity to pick up the variant copy. So at least I can read it now. So that was all that I picked up from those 4 books, and that was from Arcadian Comics in Kentucky. The next place we stopped at was Comic Book World, and Comic Book World is in Florence, Kentucky, 7130 Turfway Road. So there we go. And they appear to have 2 locations in Kentucky and 1 in Louisville. So we didn't go to Louisville. We just went into Florence. That was the next way home. So that is where I actually picked up Batman, the DC Collectibles figure. So these are some holes that I was surprising as I was going through my comics going, I can't believe I don't have some of these issues. So this is all Bat family heavy, and then a few other random comics here or there from other things that I wanted to pick up. All DC. So anybody that's looking for Marvel stuff, you ain't going to find it here. Detective Comics, where is it? 560, or 5, geez, can't read. 587. Very classic Norm Brayfogle cover there. A lot of these were Detective Comics, were some of my largest holes in my collections. Detective 497. Really cool cover here. Can't wait to crack some of these open. This one was cool. This was a nice find, really good condition. They had another copy at $200. I picked up this one for $18. So I believe this is a Neil Adams cover here. So very cool. This is Batman 235. Very classic cover. And my good buddy Terrence said you don't see very many issues of Batman where Batman is in costume without the cowl on the cover. And kind of jumping at Talia right here. And I believe that almost looks like a rat catcher. It says the sinister return of the daughter of the demon. Of course, Talia. Detective 501. Now, Terrence, if you're watching, there was a name by a writer or creator that we say we're never going to speak of on Robin Everyone Loves a Drake, just because of what he did to Tim Drake in Rebirth. But I've been hearing that this series is really good, and after what the Red Hood has just done to the Penguin, I was like, crap, I think I want to go back and read the beginning of the story arc. So I have been picking up Red Hood and the Outlaws. I can't believe I'm saying it. Scott Lobdell's Red Hood and the Outlaws, although I think he's going to be leaving the book here really shortly after this run. But here is issue 24, the variant cover. And I have now picked up, as you'll see here, all the issues from this Penguin storyline. So, going to be reading Scott Lobdell again. Detective Comics. This is the last from Comic Book World. This is 589. I know. Automatica says, how dare you? So maybe it's just because the New 52 was what it was, and the creators were told, you know, make it new, don't try and tie in other continuity. So they were just writing stuff for the sake of writing stuff. So I might give a pass. Yeah, Andrew said he's heard good things about Red Hood and the Outlaws. Terrence has said that book has been surprisingly really pretty good. So maybe it's just because the New 52 shackles are off for these creators that they can go back and pull in continuity and story and do things that they want to do, and it not be, we're not going to call Tim Drake Tim Drake. He's whatever. whatever. I'm not even going to go there. The next place that we stopped at was Comics to Games, and they are out of Florence, Kentucky, so just right down the road. I think it was a really pretty close stop, and a lot of these shops were really, really pretty cool. I'll try to post pictures on my Facebook page of the different shops. I took a lot of images of the front of the store, inside, shot a couple little videos. I thought about doing a whole video series, but I was just, my wife's like, don't waste your time, filming stuff, even though that's what you like to do. Just go and look through, the back issues and the statues. She's like, be here for you, be here not for the reviewer. So anyway, Florence, Kentucky, Comics to Games. So here's Detective Comics. I think I covered it up. There we go. 600. Detective Comics 586. So Terrence, if you're watching Batman and Robin Eternal podcast, if you're like, hey, we saw some of those issues, maybe we should review them on the show. Let's do it. A little plug for other podcasts. Here's a really cool Deathstroke. This is Deathstroke 33 variant. Damian Robin. And you can kind of see the Deathstroke face imposed on Damian. It looks like it's bleeding. Bleeding orange. Really pretty cool cover. I hope he's not Deathstroke's son. If so, I want Tim Drake back as a full Robin again. Detective Comics 585. This is a cool cover. Detective 562. Fury of the Film Freak. One of those cheesy Batman villains has got Catwoman in her classic costume there. But Film Freak kind of works. All right, Heroes Realm. This was a cool place. This is where my original comic book art came from. Some of you guys know, but I will. That's going to be the last thing. So the few comics that I bought there, I think were all Red Hood and the Outlaws, trying to tie this series up, the issues that I'm missing. So here, I was trying to get all the variant covers. I was only going to get the variant covers if I could find them, and I couldn't find as many as I wanted. But here's issue 21. I believe this is the start of the story. And I like that it says, and that was the Penguin's first mistake. So if you know what happens to the Penguin, there you go. Yeah, Andrew said when the arc did start, it says Damian may be Slade's son, question mark, yeah. Here is issue 22. And I want to say this is the first time that the Penguin has been used in Rebirth. Here's issue 23. And here's something I wanted the thicker like trade issue of this when it came out, but only because the completist in me of the Batman films. When did the arc start? I think the Penguin arc started in issue 21. I saw the cover for issue 20, but it didn't reference anything for the Penguin. If it was, maybe it's in the last panel, if you will. But I have all of these movie adaptation books, the official comic book adaptation of the Warner Brothers motion picture. I have it for Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever. I saw this for $1. Why not? Batman and Robin movie adaptation. Got it for $1. They came in sometimes a little thicker, almost trade, but this was more comic book printed. I know there's a trade-ish looking version, but I thought this is close enough. So for $1, it's Batman and Robin, I know, but the completist in me was always going, I don't have that one. And that person in me was always going, it's okay, it's Batman and Robin. We're not even halfway. So thanks for tuning in here. The next place, this was a cool place. We were kind of running out of time. We were kind of getting close to the end of the day. What happened to the you don't know what happened to the Penguin. You know how he wears a monocle? He might need 2 now, because it might involve the Red Hood's gun. And Batman might have saw it. So the next issue is called Red Hood versus Batman. You might want to check it out. That's the one issue that I read. I don't want to spoil too much, but you can read between the lines. Somebody might be missing an eye. But anyway, A+ Comics. And I got to tell a quick little story about this. They had a huge sign on the front of their building, and it listed everything that's on this card. You know, that they have That's funny. My wife, I love my wife to death. She it lists, Star Wars, DC, Marvel, like all the different stuff that they have. And the sign read, if you read this phonetically, capital G, lowercase I, space, Joe, Joes. Or not S, but So it's supposed to read G.I. Joe. But my wife says, well, technically that's correct. It should be capital G, period, capital I, period, Joe. She's like, the way that reads is Gijo. She said, you ought to go in there and say, hey, what are these Gijos? Do you have any? And I couldn't even make it into the front counter because I was laughing so hard. So the whole entire trip, we're talking in our Kentucky accent, like, I want me some Gijos. Sorry for anybody that lives in Kentucky. But it was incredibly funny. And I'm like walking in the front door, laughing hysterically at her going, Gijo, Gijo. So the owner was really nice. We got a chance to meet the owner there. They have a wonderful shop. It is A+ Comics and Collectibles, and they are in Lexington, Kentucky. I highly recommend going into A+ Comics. And the big thing that my wife said that she likes there, she's like, this store kind of took it a step farther and had sitting places for people. So what my wife usually ends up doing as I'm, dollar bin hunting or going through issues, she's like, where are the people like myself? We're just supposed to oddly stand in aisles somewhere, and she's pacing back and forth. And I'm always kind of like, oh, I'm sorry as I'm going through issues, so I end up going faster. She's like, if I had somewhere to sit, I could sit and relax and let you do your thing. They had couches, they had some sofas, they had some tables and chairs in there, so you could kind of sit and visit, and that's exactly what she did. And that was one of the first shops where I could kind of just sit there and go through books. I don't have to worry about her just kind of standing there and like, oh, she's on her feet. And, so that's kind of cool that this place, and we got to talk to the owner. That was why he was wanting to do stuff like this, is make the comic book shop very inviting to all kinds of people. And we went to some shops that were the stereotypical, like real dank, dark, dirty shop where it's like, oh my gosh, there's been stuff on your wall that has been yellowing for years and you want full price for it. And everything was in display cases and they were nice. So I cannot recommend A+ Comics enough. If you're in the Lexington, Kentucky area, go check out A+ Comics. They're an A+ store. So now that I've said all that, the other thing I like about this, they double boarded all of their books. So there's 2 boards in each of these comics. I didn't pick up a whole lot from there, but what a great store. So this is Detective 571. So I know that would make your comics a little bit heavier yet still, but man, there's weight to this. I like that. I'll save that one. Only bought 3 books. Detective 590. Great Norm Brayfogle there. I know it's not her first appearance, but it is her first solo outing. A sensational first issue, Batgirl #1. Can't believe, if everything goes according to plan, that Cassandra Cain is going to be in a live-action movie. So I know her first appearance is in No Man's Land, but I did see this, so I had to pick it up. $10, not bad. I would imagine this book is going to start going for more and more as if the movie continues to happen. So we'll see. All right, we are now at the halfway point. So hopefully you are still here. This place was cool. This is Knights Comics and Games in Henderson, Kentucky. There's their card. And this was a house that was converted into a comic shop. I had thought it was a full 2 stories, but it's all just 1 story. Like the front where the living room would be was all of their comics. And then like the hallway was their registered checkout area. The kitchen area, I'm not sure exactly what that was, but there was another like bedroom on the main floor that had a whole bunch of games. They had a lot of games. Really cool place. So I only picked up, I think, 3 books here, but all of these are older books. Some of them aren't in the best condition, but it's cool just having the books nonetheless. This is Batman 477, or Detective Comics 477. This is a cool one. I've always seen this cover. Always been intrigued by this one. It's got a corner missing out of the book. It was $6, but it was one I had to have. This is Batman 209. As you can see, the corner tear out of the side here. Really cool cover. This is Batman 231. The man saw Batman. The man who saw with his fingers. Really cool issue there. All right, so that was all for Knights, Comics, and Games. Yeah, there's still more to go. Comic Book University. This was a cool place. This is on Shelby Street, 7623 Shelby Street, Indianapolis, Indiana. They had a very, very large store. I saw the entire DC Comics multiverse Mattel wave, missing Jessica Cruz. I did see Jessica Cruz somewhere else. They wanted $40 for her, and I passed. I'm not going to do it. This place had all of them but Jessica Cruz at $22, which I thought was reasonable. So if Jessica Cruz had been there, I would have been able to pick her up. That is where I got the Robin figurine from. And then that is also where I got Flash 51 from. This is a great looking cover. So I love Wally West's costume. So I told myself I was not going to go Batman 50 crazy. I did buy the Scott Campbell variant covers. I didn't buy the 5 set, but it's the Groom side that has Tim Drake, Robin, Huntress, Batgirl, Batwoman, Black Canary. It's like 3 covers, Nightwing, Commissioner Gordon. So I got those that are coming. I did get the Jim Lee variant cover, and then like 1 or 2 other ones that you'll see here. This was on the wall, and I was trying to have my wife and I go find this, that you could probably only get this book at the midnight release. This is a 1 in 100 variant, so it might have been an expensive book right off the rip to begin with, even though it has a $4.99 price tag. It was up on the wall here. I'll just show you. So this is the penciled version of Batman 50's Jim Lee B variant. So it was on the wall for, here we go, $60. So I just pointed it out to my wife and said, that looks pretty cool. That's what I was trying to find. And the guy said, you want to look at it? And I went, oh no, that's too rich for my blood. And I turned around and walked away. Little did I know that my wife went up to the counter and had been talking to the guy, talked about our podcast, which was pretty cool. She told me afterwards. And she turned around and asked me, was that something you wanted? And I was like, yeah, but $60, I don't want it for 60. You know, I can spend that money somewhere else. Oh, don't tell my wife you got it for $6. But through her schmoozing, she got it for half price. So we came to the counter to bring the Flash 51 and the Robin figurine that I had, sat him on the counter, and he sat this down. I was like, whoa, that's not something I wanted. And he says, well, your wife said you wanted it for 30. And I was like, okay, cool. So again, that's cool. That is cool to have. And seeing it go on eBay right now is pretty cool. So that's something that's kind of put off to the side and see what that book does. So that was Comic Book University. That is another shop I would definitely recommend. Very, very, very cool shop in Indianapolis. So this one is the Comic Vault that's in Kentucky. I think I got my books out of order right there because now we're back in Kentucky again. The Comic Vault, and this is in Dixie Boulevard in Radcliffe, Kentucky, which the Comic Vault should have clued us in that we were 6 miles away from Fort Knox. So we actually drove by Fort Knox and got to see Fort Knox. And this comic book shop caters to the military that are down along the base around Fort Knox and everything like that. So there was one guy from the military that was in there buying books, and he let us go ahead of him as we were checking out. They had a half price off sale on $2 to $4 books. So if it was $2, it was $1. If it was $4, $2 kind of thing. So this is where I filled one of my longest runs of stuff that I was missing. And if you listen to our Robin Everyone Loves a Drake podcast, when we were talking about Troika, Terrence and Ryan and I were saying, oh, that we didn't realize that there were variant covers that I guess we assumed we had bought the variant covers of the black embossed variant covers that over time would show Batman's new suit. It was actually the flip that was the main cover. And the thing that looks like the standard cover is actually the B cover. I didn't realize at the time. And it wasn't until years later that I even realized that there were alternate covers for the Troika storyline. So I was able to pick up Robin 14. I think I picked up 13 books from this location. There's Detective 682 from Troika. Why do I think I already have this book? I think I picked this book up twice, which this is not a really good copy. I may have picked this book up twice in this haul here. $5.90. Yeah, I think I already picked this book up. So I bought the same book twice. I had a comic book app that I go through, and I wasn't checking them off quick enough. All About Art. How's it going? Ryan Haas had mentioned that, hey, Tim Drake is on an issue of Green Arrow 105. So I picked that up. This is something that we will definitely review for Everyone Loves the Drake once we get to this particular timeline, whatever year this would be. February 96. So once we're in February 96, we will slip this into the show somewhere. Detective 630. These are going to go right in order. 631. Jim Aparo. Great Jim Aparo. 632. 633. 634. The glare is not too bad there. I almost just turned the screen off, but if you guys are commenting, I can't see. 635. This is a really cool cover. Jim Fern is the artist. I don't know if he did the cover on this, but I remember his art. 36. 636. Another interesting cover. 637, which I think in my collection I do have this. I must have figured this in my comic book app. So picking a couple, it's a $2 book. That's not so bad. 638. The Detective Comics Giant, 698. 698. 598. Good grief. 80-page Giant. So that was all from the Comic Vault. Now we're down to my last few here. Long video. So this is the only place that didn't have a business card or some type of novelty. Comic Carnival in I gotta find it. Oh, Indianapolis, Indiana. So there's their little ad for their event that's going on right now. So these are some pretty old books. Again, the condition is so-so on them. Batman 202. This might be kind of something cool for Batman and Robin Eternal podcast, digging up some of these older issues and talking about them, which we haven't talked about comics yet on that podcast. Batman 194. This is my oldest Batman comic that I have, so I picked it up just for that I got a book that was in the 100s. Really cool cover. I love how Batman's coming down on top of the Batman logo. I finally have this one, Terrence and Ryan. I saw this and had to pick it up. Detective Comics 428, those Robin fans. That is the first appearance of Shotgun Smith. This is something I should have picked up way back when. when it came out. Titans and Young Justice crossover, Graduation Day, which led into the Teen Titans Jeff Johns series that kind of brought in Titans and Young Justice that kind of rebirthed Jeff Johns' Teen Titans run again. So I found issue 2. I'm missing issue 1 and issue 3. There's our buddy Tim Drake down there on the floor. Okay, that was from Comic Carnival. The last comic book shop, and I picked up 2 books at this location. Once we had I bought all of that stuff, and one thing you haven't seen yet. You know, the funds on vacation, you start running out and going, I can't buy as much as what I initially did to start out with. So Downtown Comics in Indianapolis, here is their, they have 3 locations. They have a Circle, Castleton, and then West Side. So there's their business card and some of their information, which you probably can't read, but I'll put in the description. We were in the West Side location. Nice little shop, but they had a lot of cool stuff there. A lot of new statues and busts, and just a lot of different issues, old and new. So I picked this up. Excuse me. So if you can tell, you can barely see the bat symbol right here. This is the blank variant, and I've never seen this before. Oh, thanks about the room. I appreciate it. They're all about art. It has a. I wonder if I can get this out of here. I'm not gonna take it out just in case I rip it. It's almost got like a vellum cover over the front and back. I don't know if it's protecting the blank cover. So I like buying blank covers, not just because it's Batman 50. Any Batman or detective cover or Teen Titans, something that I can get a Robin sketch done on, I like to try and get. So it's just dumb luck that the Batman 50 blank variant, they had 2 copies of it left. I don't know if you're supposed to take that sleeve off of it or not, but I thought there was one cover that had it ripped off, and this one had both front and back paper sleeves or whatever it is over top of it. I haven't seen anything like that before. So I thought, well, I'm just going to keep it on there just for that. So there's not really much to see. Like, it's just a blank variant with the little flag off in the corner of the Batman logo. So I'll take that to a convention somewhere and get a sketch done on it at some point. And then the last thing, I think I have all of the Troika issues now from the alternate covers. This is Shadow of the Bat 35. I'll have to check to see if I'm missing one. So, excuse me. Talk too much. That is the comic book haul. 47 books, just about 10 shops. Big Bang Toys that I'd gone to. I didn't buy a collectible there. Or I bought an action figure, no comic books there. Then the Superman Museum / store was there. The consignment shop that we had gone to where I got the Superman action figure. So I'm kind of including all those in the 10 stores that we stopped at. It was a lot of fun. So the other thing that I have here, the last thing, which I know a couple people that are watching this video right now know about, Heroes Realm. I cannot say enough good things about Heroes Realm. I took a video there. I'll try and put up the couple little videos that I took, and they're no more than a minute and a half each, I think. But Heroes Realm was a really, really good store. This turned out to be probably one of the better things just because of what I bought there and what this leads into for our podcast. Robin Everyone Loves the Drake. So the owner was not there, but the guy that was working there was in the military. We were just kind of talking back and forth. He's been collecting comics. This is for 30 or 40 years. It's his hobby. It's his passion. So now that he's a retired military, he works part-time at this comic book shop to kind of feed his comic book habit. So I saw this piece on the wall, and instantly, being a Robin fan, I knew exactly what it was, and I said, oh my gosh, that's original comic book art. But they were on the wall as if that they were just pieces that they had, that it was decoration, just for their store shop. And the guy's like, I think everything has a price on the back of it. He's like, if you're willing to, to purchase it. So I looked at my wife, and she's kind of like, knowing that some of this stuff can be pretty expensive. I said, well, can I at least take it down and look at it? Because it was pretty high up on the wall. But Robin's cape caught me, and we're getting really close to covering this on our podcast, or at least the artist's run. I got to go back and check and see where he first started. Actually, I know he was in Robin 16, but he was under a different name, and we didn't know it. So I got to looking at it, and we were talking to him, and he said, tell you what, I can text the owner, and if you want to make a deal on it. And he texted the owner. We were there almost an hour, just kind of chit-chatting with him. Again, great store. Guy behind the counter was really cool. And the owner wasn't getting back with us. And so my wife's like, would you take 20 or 15 bucks off of the price? And the guy said, you know what? You guys have been really pretty cool. He's like, I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And if the owner decides, oh no, that's the price that I wanted for that, he's like, I'll cover you guys. So that was pretty cool. He's like, hey, I'm here behind the counter. So he's like, I've been here quite a long time. I think he trusts me enough to make a good deal. So this may be completely glaring, but this is from Robin 43. This is page 17, and I'll show you the actual page here. So it was framed and on the wall, and the artist is Staz Johnson. So he had a nice, he had a decent run in the Robin series. So it's already got the wire in the back, so this is instantly going to go on my wall. So I've got a Rebirth Superman issue that has Tim Drake on it. Now I've got proper Tim Drake here. This is such a cool piece. So I'll show you the actual comic. So here's 43 and page 17. So for some people that may not know, they produce these on a much larger scale. That may be completely glaring and be out of focus, but hopefully not. So that is one of the single coolest pieces to drive all the way to Kentucky, if I'm saying that correctly, if I got the right place. Yes, driving all the way to Kentucky. If this is the only thing I picked up on vacation, what a cool, cool piece. So that is the haul. That is the vacation. Other than a couple Superman t-shirts that we bought at the Superman Museum, it was just great to get out on the road. And I've got some figures that I need to review here. So I may do it here in this style, kind of ODC, and I have done recently, talking about stuff. I kind of want to get behind the actual camera, get on the review table. But like I've said before, my room upstairs is unbearably hot this time of year. So hopefully things will cool down literally a little bit, and I can get back to doing some proper reviews. But thanks for letting me share this. I've also posted this on the Comic Book Corner. So anybody from the corner watching, thanks for watching Comic Book Corner. Thanks for tuning into Rob's Rogues. Check out Rob and Everyone Loves the Drake. We've have a quasi interview with Staz Johnson. Because of this art, I tagged him on Twitter, and he's agreed to do an interview in the way that it's going to be, we're going to be emailing questions back and forth to Staz. And then either Terrence Ryan and I will play the part of Staz and read the questions while one of us, reads his responses back. So that's as close to an interview as we could. He's in the UK. He said he's not much for doing like radio interviews, but he's like, you can ask any questions you want, and you can read my responses on the show. And he's going to retweet stuff. He's been retweeting original art from his Robin run because I tagged him in that post, and I've been corresponding back and forth with him. So we're probably going to start that interview process here soon. So I would like to do it once we get to his actual Robin. If you can bear with me a second, I can pull up my comic books here on my app. If anybody wants to say, hey, what app are you using? I'm using CLZ comic book app. I had to pay 15 bucks for the app, but it is so good. It catalogs every issue you have by scanning the barcodes. It puts it in, and then you can make a wish list and a want list for it. So when we go there, I collect wish lists, and I can see what books I'm missing. And the only reason I end up doubling up sometimes is I don't get those switched over into the all in collection quick enough that when we get to the next stop, I'm like, okay, I don't think I picked that up. We looked at that, but I put it back down. So that's where it gets it. So if anybody's curious, give me 1 second here. Staz Johnson, I believe, officially comes on to draw for the Robin series. It may be in the 40s. Yeah, Mike Raringo is coming, so it's not to the 40s. So we may just do the interview ahead of time, or because it's a written interview, we may just wait till we get there. So I won't take up too much time right here trying to find where he... Okay, so he's in on 37, 35, 32. So he's got to be on 32 or 31, his start. 32. Yeah, so yeah, Staz Johnson becomes the permanent penciler for a while, starting with issue 32. So we're just coming up to like issue, where are we at in the podcast? We're a little ways off yet. Yeah, we're still somewhere up around the teens. We're around 17. So we've got a little bit, but I think we may get the interview out just a little bit early once we get all the questions done. So that's rambling for the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I'm going to enjoy the rest of vacation and kind of go hang out with the wife and watch some TV and movies and chill out before you got to go to work tomorrow. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you're watching on Rob's Rogues, watching my Facebook page or the Collector's Corner, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.